Our next presenter is a connector of people, places, and big ideas. But that's not as easy as it sounds. From her experience, she knows good and well that many claim to have this secret sauce, right, for business development, but few really have the track record to back that up. Through her trials and tribulations in both career and personal life, she's carved out a perspective that really transcends business jargon and compels her to challenge individuals looking to better develop their businesses. During her presentation, titled How to Build Your Business, she's going to offer anecdotes and advice on how to do exactly that. So let's put our hands together for our second Max speaker, and her name is Rachel Marker.
Good morning, everyone. So this is how it all began today. And I'm going to call it the fast version, so hang on. Are you ready? Ring, 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 ring. Hello, this is Rachel. Hi. What? You want me to speak at Build Business this year? You want me to do a Max talk? Yeah, you bet, I'm in. Anytime SMPS National calls, I am in it. Next up was, what topic am I going to possibly talk about? The topic is build business, and so I think it would make sense to talk about how to build a business. And if you were to look in your program, you're gonna get an overview as to what I'm gonna talk about today. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just cut to the chase. And I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version. And so what we're gonna talk about today is we're gonna cut the jargon, we're gonna listen, and we're gonna win work. So, major disclaimer, inside that little program it says that you're here to learn about the secret. And so if you're interested in the secret, I suggest that after this program today, you head out, use your little smartphone, and I think you Google the secret on Amazon.com, and you buy yourself the secret, because you know what, today, I'm gonna take you all on a journey that will hopefully inspire you to build your business in a little bit different way. So recently, I've written a story, and I've written a story especially for my friends here at SMPS. And I recognize that this group likes to have a lot of fun. And I also recognize that there was a breakfast that happened before this Max presentation. So some of you may have or had not had a muffin or 2 muffins or a breakfast taco or something like that. But we're gonna turn this story into a game. And that game is to see how much do we pay attention to what we are actually saying and what we're actually retaining. So any of you ever take yourselves too seriously about life and about what you do as marketers? Anyone do that? All right, so on this story today, I want you to raise your hand, and you know what? Sometimes raise both of them at some points if you get down to it, because we want to have some fun with it. Okay, and so let's go ahead and get started. So anytime you hear a word or a phrase that you may have said yourself or had someone within your firm say it, or you may have just heard it out on the street, I want you to raise your hand and just bring it back down again. You can count how many times, yes, no, it doesn't really make a difference, but let's go ahead and let's get started. So I have to contribute the credit to the New York Times for just the use of the most used jargon words. So I created the story. So let's begin. Once upon a time, in a very small ecosystem of tigers and SWAT teams, there lived another group of robust, bleeding-edge teams of people who always believed in giving 110%. to moving that needle, to making their core values and their core competencies achievable, as well as scalable and vertical. Not to mention being aware of all that low-hanging fruit. Okay, we know that that's out there in the marketplace that would empower all of us around us to reach out and look for what we wanted, to really think outside the box, okay? Or you know what? Let's take it to the next level, all right? And every now and then, we need to punt it when that time is right, and we know when that time is right, because everyone knows who's drinking the Kool-Aid, okay? And you better be careful for all of those folks who are out there swimming outside of their lanes. You ever have that happen? Okay, let's stop just for a brief moment. Anyone raise their hands? Anyone? All right, we're getting those muffins working off, okay? So there's gonna be no call-outs or shout-outs if you have not raised your hand yet. So we're almost done with this story. We all know that the best practice to ensure buy-in is to make sure that you have your ducks in a row. Let's ready to make hay. Everything is cut and dry. And if there are lots of moving pieces, you need to be prepared to take some of those things offline and leverage the strength of those around you. Right? Yeah. If needed, you must be willing to make a hard stop before drilling down on the impact of the solution, may have the learnings we all keep discovering. We all know it is what it is. And those who synergize together, well, we know they play well together. And as our story comes to an end, remember that that window of opportunity may or may not be closing, but we don't want that onion that we keep peeling back the layers on to get smelly. So I'm gonna come to a simple close of my story by saying, let's add rest of this to the parking lot list for further discussion that we all acknowledge will never get addressed. All right, amen. So let's have, obviously, a round of applause for all those who did raise your hand proudly. I know it must have been hard, and it might have been fun for some of you too. And seriously, what did you retain from what I said? What is it that you heard me say? I'm gonna call it. I said nothing. That was a big fat zero. So you know what? Don't use it. Put it outside. This is not about how growing your business. So when you catch yourself using those jargon words, stop, say nothing, or better yet, stop and listen to what that other person is saying. Seriously, now back to the topic at hand, how to build your business and without a lot of jargon. I found great inspiration recently. I had the pleasure of traveling through Europe, and I saw the birthplace, the home, and the burial site of one Vincent van Gogh. Probably one of the greatest marketers of all times, and yet Vincent van Gogh was considered unsuccessful during his lifetime, considered a madman, and a complete failure at his work as a painter. He became famous only after his suicide and exists in the public imagination as the quintessential, misunderstood genius, the artist, listen, where discourses on madness and creativity converge. I repeat, where discourse on madness and creativity converge. This is how I view our AEC industry in many ways. Misunderstood and where discourse and madness and creativity converge. In what other industry do you chase a client to all ends and means and ask them if you can design them a space or a place for them to call their own, yet the design and creativity has to flow through another individual, whether that be an architect, a designer, another form of creative. It has to be their vision to become a reality. Small jargon used there. When I think of Van Gogh and our industry, I relate the two in a very simple way. Van Gogh took his paintbrushes and started creating paintings, hundreds and hundreds of paintings, and none of them were appreciated until after his death. And us as marketers, how many times do we make phone call after phone call, email after email, event after event, personal cards, trying to find that client's need, only to recognize that nothing happens instantly. It may take a week, it may take a month, it may take a year, it may take a decade to actually see the results of all of our hard work. I refuse to insult you by repeating to you the same thing that you hear every year, a checklist of how to do this or that to gain more business. When I think of building a business, I think of taking nothing and creating it into something, a vision of what could be, a clean canvas, if you will. Some use industry, business, technical terms like strategic planning, programming, master planning, and I personally call it good old ingenuity, entrepreneurship, and really when it boils down to it, it's good old-fashioned listening with 2 ears and not using your mouth a lot. The greatest clients I have gained and maintained are the clients who feel I have heard what they are saying, and they respond back to me that I have translated what they envisioned in their mind to paper, and then we take that vision from the paper to materials, and that's when the magic happens. So one client story, her name is Diane. She left corporate America 10 years ago. She had a passion, and her passion was to teach children before kindergarten how to read and what to expect before they made it to their very first day in kindergarten. And so she started off, sold everything, and there she went. She started off out in little Aledo, Texas. With one little building, it moved to 3 buildings, and the next thing you knew, she outgrew it in over 10 years. But she had a vision, and she came to us. And her vision was on giant, like poster boards that looked like Pinterest had exploded. Not really a Pinterest fan, but the appreciation of looking at this woman's life work over and over again. We came up with 3 conceptual designs for the schoolhouse that she wanted to create, and we were ready to present those 3 designs to her, and you know what? We showed her 3, and she hated every single one of them. And you know why? Because we didn't listen to what she was saying to us. So we went back to the drawing board, and we had further conversations. We looked at those Pinterest boards, and we realized what she really wanted was really a little house on the prairie type of schoolhouse, where these kids could come and feel loved within the community, and that's what we gave her. And she's probably one of our biggest cheerleaders for us today. So this is how we go about building our business at Arcturus. We are listening and translating what we hear into the innovations and clients' desires and changing the lives of generations to come. By listening with both ears to our clients, that was a pun for Mr. Van Gogh, we are allowing our clients to paint their masterpieces into the world. And again, we are changing lives. Today, our clients do not speak our language. It is up to us to understand their language. Again, take the time, stop. Listen and be enlightened by what they are actually saying. Take your ego and throw it out the window and see what develops. Today, I stand in a dress by Vincent van Gogh called A Starry Night. I cannot imagine if Vincent ever thought his works would be considered some of the best impressionists the world had ever seen. A man who was considered insane in many ways, and yet his passion for creating never yielded. As I leave you today, I make the statement, stop the jargon and go ear to ear with your clients and build your business. Listen to what they are saying and you will uncover the secret. And most importantly, find your passion and pursue it personally and professionally at a rate that will surprise not only those around you, but also that will surprise yourself. I'm Rachel Marker. I'm principal and partner at Arcturus. And I am a proud connector, developer of people, places, and really big ideas. The experience of connection defines me. A world traveler with 7 continents and 60 countries to date, listening is the best education money can buy anywhere in the world. Cheers, ciao, and hasta luego.